Warning, you are about to enter the BGP suite. No thongs, no boy shorts, no thigh highs, no commandos are permissible. BGP, big girl panties only. So pull up to woman up. And no, please don't leave with your panties in a bunch.
Welcome to BGP. Today we are going to speak on accountability. Recently I've been privy to conversations with millennials and the younger generation X in regards to the later generation X and baby boomer decisions, right? And so one of the things that I keep hearing is that nobody holds the elders accountable. What is accountable? You know, when you take ownership, you take responsibility for your actions. Right, wrong, or indifferent, you get to say, you know what, you're right, I was wrong, or I made a bad decision in the past. I'm going to do the work to kind of, make things to improve, not only myself, but for the greater good, right? So a lot of times we'll see on social media and as well as, shows and whatnot, people bashing the younger generations, saying like, you're entitled, you have entitlement issues, you guys are doing it wrong, you guys are lazy, you guys are complainers, you want everything handed to you. And the fire back is, well, y'all fucked up. And we just sitting here trying to recoup the loss that you guys gave us, right? And so my question, ladies, who holds the elders accountable? I'll start with you, Adrianne.
Who holds the elders accountable? Well, my thought is that I just feel like the pressure is so much pressure on us how we parent children today. And the old school way is wrong. The new school way is not good enough. So we're placed in this position to always you want to do the right thing. Mm-hmm. But it's difficult because either way you get some type of horrible feedback on how you do. Like I grew up in a generation where our parents whooped and they did whatever they felt was necessary to, have us acting and behaving a certain way. Where today we've taken that completely out. And I'm not saying that whooping is always the best way to handle things. I'm just saying that there's a different way that we're told to do things now. We have so many people involved in how we do it that we don't even trust our own selves to parent correctly. Now, once you do identify that you've made some errors, I think we should own what we've done wrong and try to correct that and be. That's where healing begins. That's where we can make correction in how we've done things in the past. Is once we own it and it's brought to our attention how to do something different, then we can do something different. But I think too much. It's a lot of pressure on parents, on people today to how to move and how to do things. So it's who holds us accountable. Yeah, that's a hard question.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mona,
can you give me an example of which you would want someone to hold an elder accountable for?
Oh, I sure can.
Sure.
So recently we had someone on our show who I would deem as an older woman in her 40s, right? She wanted to speak on her choice of a man that she's dating, and things did not work out. And instead of taking the lesson for what it was, her decision to date and whatnot, she wanted to come on the show to bash, right? So when we kind of spoke about it and kind of wanted to say, like, I hear you, sis, but I think that you could have done things a little bit differently, she got offended by it. Not only got offended by it, but decided to create a response video to our video, right? So as someone that is on the cusp of a millennial, and for millennials that, that came after, looking at that, seeing a woman in her 40s or 50s behaving like someone in their 20s, she wasn't being accountable for her actions. She didn't want to deal with the choices of her actions. She just wanted to play the blame game. So if you're 20, 23, 25, and you're looking up to this person, not looking up as if they're your superhero, but you're supposed to learn from this person who's supposed to be an elder or an older person. Who holds that particular individual accountable? Does that help?
I have spoken to you on several occasions that, well, in reference to maturity, age does not equate that a person is an elder or a mature person. Maturity equates maturity. You have to want to be mature. You have to want to be righteous. You would have to want to be valued for your wisdom. You have to hold yourself accountable before anybody can hold you accountable. Who holds the elders accountable? First and foremost, they got to hold their own self accountable. They have to see that there is something wrong in what they're doing. Sometimes you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Sometimes what they say a zebra can't change its stripes. But a snake could shed its skin, right?
Over and over.
So when a snake sheds their skin, that means they are trying to rebirth themselves. And if this person does not see the errors of their ways, they don't want a rebirth. You got some shiesty, scandalous, sneaky, throw the rock and hold the stone and hide behind. How you say it? Throw the rock and hide
your hand or something.
And hide your hand. Yeah, you got those type of people that they gonna be who the hell they gonna be, and it's always gonna be somebody else's problem. So there's some people out here that think that in order for you to get clarity in a situation, that it's going to be a confrontation. And because they do not know how to engage in a confrontation in a healthy manner, they will play like everything is okay in your face and then go behind your back and do a goddamn subliminal message. And that's a coward. See, an adult, and the reason why they do it is because either they think that they don't know how to do it, they would look bad doing it, it would say something about, or something like it's their mistake that something happened, or they're worried about the relationship not being the same as it was before they confronted you. So they will go behind your back and do a subliminal post or do a clap back with only one hand type of video or situation when they were right in your face
and said nothing.
Or have your phone number if you're too cowardly to have a face-to-face interaction that you could call that individual. And really, they didn't give a damn about what you thought anyway, if they cannot face you or call you. So, in that instance, you can bring it to their attention. You can call them on it. But some people will not even do that because they're afraid of losing that friendship that was never a friendship in the first place. That connection, because some people that you have to hold accountable as your elders could be your parent, could be your sibling, could be your husband, your girlfriend or boyfriend, somebody really close to you, your child. And you don't want to look like the bad guy, or so you just suppress it or try to overlook it. Always have the notion to speak your truth, to get clarification, regardless if it hurts somebody's feelings or not, if it means that the relationship is going to resolve, because that's giving you peace of mind.
Okay. So let me let me say this. So a lot of us feel like when it comes to the elders, a lot of bad decisions were made, especially from the late 60s to the mid 80s. A lot. And it affected the generations that happened to be born between that range and after, right? And so when we point things out towards, especially baby boomers, when we point things out like, you know, you guys chose to sell poison in your community as opposed to trying to make shit better for the community. It's like, you little ungrateful mother, I did the best I could. Okay, fine. Mm-hmm. You know, you guys were verbally and physically abusive when things didn't go right in your household towards the children, which made them no longer, as adults, be comfortable with making decisions because now they're confused because the person that was supposed to take care of them didn't. You didn't do the right decisions. I did the best I could. You ungrateful. You this. Like, it's always, you dismiss it instead of saying, you know what? You're right.
Well, here's that saying, when you know better, you do better. And not trying to make any excuses for those of us who've made mistakes in things, because I made tons of them. Mm-hmm. And I know better now, and I try to correct that. But when all you know is this, that's all you do is that. You know what I'm saying? So once it's, to blame us, to me, is kind of fucked up, for lack of a better word, because we did all we knew how to do. So now that certain things are brought to our attention, and those of us who have who are good enough to recognize, to be strong enough to say, okay, yes, I did make an error, mm-hmm. and I need to do something different. And in some cases, when you start doing something different, for some, it's too late. You can't make up for those bad decisions. Mm-hmm. And so with that being said, we have to remember, I think it's Oprah that always says, when you know better, you do better. And once we do, we do. Some of us who really, really identify and can recognize where we've made mistakes. The other example that you use with bringing up that particular individual. Issue. Yeah, mm-hmm. that individual. I think she came in with the idea that she knew where she made a mistake, but she was being very defensive. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, for when you coming on to share something, you want to be transparent, keep it 100 all the way. You fucked up, you messed up, you made an error, and that's how that and go from there and try to make those corrections. But for the ones that are blaming us and saying that it's our fault and we're not taking accountability, I think we can take accountability, mm-hmm. but it's how you bring it to us. We ain't responsible for all this stuff that they going through. You know what I'm saying? We're not.
Who's responsible?
I'm saying we're not. I think when you clump them all in a big group like that, it makes it as though. Because me personally, I tried to correct my errors, where I've messed up, mm-hmm. and I did that in with not just my own children or the errors, the places that have been brought to my attention in correcting it. I've done it for those that are even outside of that, so they don't make those same mistakes. Mm-hmm. But we are responsible for some of it, but I think it's kind of jacked up that we would have to take all of that responsibility.
Okay.
Let me say something. First of all, whenever you enter into a situation when you're trying to have clarity, and I'm not directly speaking to you, when you actually use the word blame versus here's a person coming to you saying, this is the problem that I have with you, and you said you become defensive. Mm-hmm. That's one of the main problems, mm-hmm. where we don't get anywhere. Who's responsible? At some point in time, you're going to have to say, this is what happened, and I got to move forward. Yeah. Yes. I agree with you that we ain't responsible for your ass being lazy. Exactly. Because I know I'm a hardworking woman. I know Neisha's a hardworking woman. Mm-hmm. I know you a hardworking woman. Yes. And if my child turned out to be lazy, that's a personal choice. So mm-hmm. it's a lot of things that everybody or human beings use to not reach their fullest potential. Here's the thing. People were taught by people who were taught mm-hmm. things because of environment, culture, beliefs, religion, things passed down that were never corrected.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. And then you run across a child that's like, that ain't right. 1 and 1 ain't 3. Shut your mouth.
Correct. And there's the problem.
You see what I'm
Yes.
saying?
That's
Shut
the
your mouth.
and
I
that's the
see.
problem.
Right.
So like I'm saying, I am a very transparent person. I am a very open book. I don't have a problem coming back like, hey, if I hurt your feelings, I'm sorry. I don't have a problem sitting in and listening. Now, I might have a scar on my face. I might be like this. People say I'm not approachable, but I'm actually, even if I'm doing this, even if I'm not looking at you directly, I'm listening because I value what you say.
Right.
If I love you, if I'm trying to be an influence in your life, I want to hear you. I don't want to hear just to respond back to you. I want to hear the tone, your voice, the pain, the sarcasm, the humor. You try not to cry so I can help you. But it's a lot of older people that's like, don't do what I do what
As
I say.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't question me. Who are you to question me? I'm the grown person here. In actuality, you haven't always been the grown person.
Correct.
So you have to, as an elder, you have to have compassion and empathy for how other people feel. And you have to be willing to apologize for any harm or hurt or disagreements that you may have with somebody else.
I agree.
I agree.
Because that is the issue that I've ran across, where it said like we tend to point out things that was done incorrectly from previous generations, and the older generations be like, so get over it. So what? I don't want to hear that shit. You just a child. Like, stay in a child's place instead of saying, you know what? You're right.
Yeah.
I did it wrong. I was taught wrong. And the way, things come about, you're absolutely correct. That was dysfunctional. The way I would curse at you or yell at you because I was upset with your father was wrong. The way I took out my anger on you and frustrations on you because of my life choices was wrong. The way that I talk to you crazy, the way that it's wrong. The way that I shit on your generation is wrong. It's wrong. The way I've made poor choices in life and the men that I date with my body, it's no one else's fault but my own. It's my own. And if 2 elders or if 3 elders or 10 elder women want to pull my coat and tell me, okay, I see what you said, I hear what you're saying, but here is why I think you went wrong, I'm going to listen. I'm open to listening. Same as I would hope on the other end of the spectrum, they're also open to listening. But when I think about someone recently that was on the show, they really weren't. And that concerns me because I hear it all the time from my peers when they like, the older generation don't give a fuck. They selfish. They about themselves. They've always been about themselves. And that's why we're in this predicament right here. And I used to be like, no, that's not true. But when you look back at it, it's like profit over pain. Profit over pain. I'm going to make this quick money. Who cares if I got to lose all these people over here? I'm going to make this choice real quick. Who cares about how it can affect my bloodline? I'm gonna say what I gotta say. Who cares what bridge I'm burning? Right. Who cares?
But see, I think sometimes, and not justifying or making excuses or light of the situation, I think sometimes, in some cases, people do stuff out of sheer survival. I think early on we had a conversation about strippers and things that make you end up doing stuff that is not necessarily appropriate or the best decision to make, but you do it out of just surviving. You know what I mean? And yes, a lot of people were ruined in the time when we're talking about that period of time. But a lot of times it was for some it was just the flamboyant of the being flashy and things like that. But sometimes it was literally trying to get my money to be able to pay my rent, to be able to do whatever. So, some people's hustle is what they hustle is. It's not at that moment. You're not looking at how it's affecting this person and this person and that person. Exactly. You're doing what you have to do right then at that moment to survive. And like I said, once those of us who can take that constructive criticism and own where we made those errors is where we start healing and doing stuff differently. That's just my thought.
Do you agree?
I agree with what she said. And shit, there's people that didn't sell drugs on the streets, that were married or unmarried, that did some scandalous stuff.
Yeah.
So, you just can't force it on that.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I'll say this. I just wanted to kind of open up that discussion. I believe that we'll definitely have a follow-up regarding this. I just wanted to get the discussion going. It was brought to my attention. That's why I really wanted to talk about it, because I'm part of a movement called Black Women Holding Black Women Accountable, and they have a male group called Black Men Holding Black Men Accountable. And we have these discussions where you have millennials versus Generation Xers versus baby boomers, right? Because it's a vary of ages or whatnot. And the complaint is generally kind of the same, where it's like, no one's listening. You're not hearing me. You're dismissing my concerns. And I think we need to speak more about it. And accountability does need to happen on both sides. We need to be okay with admitting that we've made some mistakes and try to get through it so that we can move forward instead of being stunted from the 60s. Because I have a lot of men sitting there saying the reason why they're not in a relationship is because women chose feminism over a relationship. And it's like, well, sir, that happened before I was even born. Hell, my mama wasn't even born yet. So, it's to be continued.
Let's do a part 2.
Definitely a part 2.
Let's do a part 2.
All right, to be continued. BGP, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for listening. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. BGP. BGP, we're out. Bye.